this moment then was probably inevitable even 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, because of the systems that us humans have in place. Even if we weren't in a capitalist system, we would always be in this human system. And by the way, you use that word arrogance quite a lot in the book, Mo. And I thought that was very interesting, which will help us talk about the last section. But like, you're pretty hard on us humans, probably for good measure. And we're going to have to start looking at ourselves in the mirror in a very serious way over the next couple of years. We won't have a choice. It's a bit like an ayahuasca ceremony. It's like you're going to have to look yourself in the eye because
absolutely.
Yeah. Pretty soon you're going to be the cows in the pen looking back saying, why can't they be nicer to us? And you'll have to ask yourself, well, why weren't we nicer to them? But we're going to get to that. But just a few things. Sam Altman from OpenAI was interviewed a few weeks ago, and he was asked about that ring fencing question. And he said, we can just turn it off. We can turn it off if someone's using it incorrectly. Now, since then, of course, we've seen ChatGPT-4 linked to the internet. I think yesterday somebody took a version of ChatGPT, maybe it was 3 or 3.5, and took it as a separate 4 gig file that you can put on any standalone computer, and it runs pretty close to what it was. And so they're like, well, if that's possible, then no one can stop that. And so you're seeing all the people playing with this, and you're realizing, I guess what you said in the book, which is any illusions that we might have had that we could ring fence it, control it. I mean, we're already seeing evidence that we can't.
We cannot. And maybe Sam is right, by the way. Maybe we can switch off ChatGPT. But you see, the system that we've created is now getting replicas of ChatGPT itself everywhere, and getting competitors of ChatGPT, Google Brad and so many others are coming up and saying, hey, by the way, I'm good too. I can develop that stuff too. China came out with its own language model. Very quickly, you're going to see one from Yandex and Russia and so on. It is basically a very interesting spiral. It's a tech that triggers capitalism to build a better tech, that triggers capitalism to build a better tech. And if you've ever coded AI, and I'm old now, so I'm not as good a developer as I used to be, but this is the easiest thing I've ever coded. Right? If you've ever coded Fortran or, RPG or, those ancient languages, these were humiliating compared to the level of intelligence. If you know mathematics well, you can create AI. And now more interestingly, AI is creating AI. I mean, the most dangerous feature in ChatGPT is when you go to ChatGPT and say, build me a user experience or build me a piece of code. Right. And these are really interesting. If someone can say, build me a piece of code, and ChatGPT will look at the database and find a piece of code that works for you and present it to you as something you can use, very quickly it will find a way to deploy it. Even if ChatGPT itself doesn't find a way to deploy it, some clever person somewhere will find a way to have another AI ask ChatGPT to develop that code for it. Do you understand? It's that mix of human greed and human, mistrust between us, mixed with an enormous level of intelligence that is now making every snake oil salesman hungry, basically, to jump on that bandwagon and create something that works for all of us.
Yeah, I think there's something called auto GPT, which is like the GPT going back and forth with itself and creating all of these possibilities.
That's the way we teach them.
Right.
I mean, if you let me take a couple of minutes to explain how we teach them,
Please.
It's actually quite remarkable. What we, so to take examples of the very, very original eye openers, the ones that really woke all of us up. Something like AlphaGo, for example. AlphaGo was DeepMind's computer that basically won the world championship in Go, which is one of the most difficult strategy games on the planet. And AlphaGo learned from watching YouTube videos or like watching people playing Go. Nobody ever told it how to play. They specified the rules of the game. But then AlphaGo Master, which won against AlphaGo, I think 1,000-0, learned from playing against itself. So it just played against itself randomly at the beginning, finding out patterns of, this pattern loses, this pattern wins. And that's all it needed to do. On its own, in a matter of days, or at most weeks. I think it was 6 days. Again, don't quote me on the number, but basically those machines are so scalable. You can have 2,000 instances of AlphaGo Master playing against itself, 1,000 games a second. And so very, very quickly, they will have the lifetime of experience of the world champion of Go and learn from that. Now, how do we teach them? At the very early beginnings, when we started to work on deep learning, we were basically trying to map the neural structures of humans, right? And the easiest way, I think my absolute eye-opening moment was when I was at Google X, and we had a gripper farm. If you know, robotic grippers, they basically are supposed to, the robots that you see in a Toyota factory are not artificial intelligence. These are high precision machines. So if the sheet metal is a micrometer away from its position, it won't be able to capture it, right? We were trying to teach AI, because it's almost impossible to program how to grab everything, to grip everything. We were trying to teach AI to learn on its own, like a child, basically. So we had a farm of many grippers that was on the second floor of our building, and I sat on the third floor. And so every day, as I went back up and down for meetings, I would walk by that thing. And it basically is very, very, meditative. The gripper would attempt to grip something, and then it would go up. If it fails, it will show the camera that it failed. If it grips something, it will show the camera that it succeeded. And then we learn the patterns that actually succeed. And, we had a bit of money at Google, so we had quite a few of them. Very, very interesting experience for a geek like myself. So I stopped by and I looked at it, and weeks passed by, and I'm like, it's not happening. Nothing is working, okay? Until one time, Friday afternoon, after lunch, I'm going back after lunch, and I look at those machines, and one of the grippers in front of my eyes, interestingly, talk about wake-up calls, goes, to the little box in front of it. And I think the developers had a sarcastic sense of humor. They had children toys in that box, okay? And it goes down and it grips one yellow ball, okay? And it shows it to the camera, literally like a child saying, "Daddy, look, I gripped a ball," okay? And in my mind, I jokingly said, yeah, tens of $millions for one yellow ball, and continued up to my office. Monday morning, every single one of them was gripping the yellow ball. 2 weeks later, every single one of them was gripping everything.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, it's Brian Rose, founder of the DeFi Academy. I've told you my 4-week crypto bootcamp is amazing, but don't take my word for it. This is what my students are saying.
The DeFi Academy was an amazing experience for me. It took me totally out of my comfort zone.
In this course, I was challenged, I was held accountable, and pushed to do things that honestly weren't always easy.
It's been phenomenal, and I can't believe we're already up on our 4 weeks. It has flown by.
Going through this DeFi accelerator by far was one of the best courses I've taken.
You do this course, you really get into the nitty-gritty of the activities that will make you comfortable with decentralized finance.
Thank you so much to Brian and everyone at London Real and the DeFi Academy for even putting together an amazing course like this.
Anybody else that wants to do it, please sign up. It is well worth the money.